Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name's David, and this is a deck review. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for being here. It is Sunday, and we are kicking off 6 deck reviews in a row. Now, of course, there'll be other videos, right? Of course. But I have 6 of these. 6 of these decks. These are Cotta's Almanac. You can find these at playingcarddex.com. I actually did a review already for this deck. I already did a review for Cotta's Almanac number 1, and I did a review for number 2 and 3. I did that kind of as a mashup. I put them together, but then I stopped, and I ended up getting decks 4, 5, and 6 recently. And so I thought, rather than just do 4, 5, and 6, let's start over. Let's start over. Let's look at all 6 of them back to back to back to back to back. And I was even gifted all 6 of these in the gilded version. So if you stick around to the end, I will tell you how you can win all 6 decks in the gilded edition. Cotta's Almanac is a transformation deck. They were first issued by Cotta in 1805. This deck is probably the most famous of all 6 because it is incredibly scarce. Original illustrations were fiddling artworks done by hand on copper plates that were manually engraved with stipple and etching, and the cards were printed on linen period stock that was only 97 millimeters by 69 millimeters in size, with blank card backs and squared corners at that time. Only the court cards were hand-colored, while the number cards used red stencils. Cotta's transformation decks were very successful, became a role model for later transformation decks from other publishers, and since the deck backs were blank, individual cards were sometimes used by nobility as a thanks for visiting card and for leaving messages. So these playing cards often became multi-purpose items. This first deck that we're going to look at is the blue Joan of Arc deck. Looking at the back design of this first deck, you'll see that it's all done in blue with these little black stippling. And it's an edge-to-edge design, so there's no poker border. Remember that I said the first decks were blank-backed, right? Blank-backed with square corners. And so we wouldn't have a deck like that today. So what Joan of Arc and Will Roya have done is they've made a recreation of what a back design back then would have looked like. And I wanted to show you the other 6 decks as well, so you could see just the beautiful colors and the varying patterns. Notice that in this set, you are not getting the same back design over and over recolored. You are getting 6 original colors and 6 original patterns. All right, so what is Cotta's Almanac number 1? This is actually called the blue Joan of Arc deck in playing card circles. It's a precisely, digitally, hand-created reproduction of the very first published, complete transformation deck in the world. The blue Joan of Arc deck is probably the most famous and most incredibly rare deck. Now, what is a transformation deck? A transformation deck is a deck of cards where the artist incorporates all of the pips and all the artwork into little stories. So mostly all the non-face cards, right? All the non-face cards, they incorporate all the pips into the artistic design. They can even move the pips around the card face. This deck, the blue Joan of Arc deck, was very successful when it first came out, and it later became the role model for other transformation decks that followed in its path. Of course, we'll look at a lot of the different cards, but I want to focus on the main characters. These would be the court cards. All of these court cards are figures, characters, inspired by Schiller's play on Joan of Arc. Of course, the main character then is Joan of Arc. She is the Queen of Spades. Most famously, Joan of Arc inspired the French army to victory. However, she was later burned at the stake for heresy. If you look up in the corner, the court cards have a designation of a French word that corresponds to Jack, Queen, and King. Apart from Joan of Arc, all the other court cards are other characters either closely associated with Joan that helped her to victory in the Battle of 1429, or they're fictional characters that exist in Schiller's play. You have Raymond. This is the Jack of Diamonds. He is Joan of Arc's page. You also have some political figures like King Charles VII, who is the King of Hearts. You have Charles's mother. She is the Queen of Hearts. Charles's mistress, the Queen of Diamonds. Charles' most notable opponent, Philip, the Good King, the King of Diamonds. The King of Naples, the King of Clubs. General Talbot, who is the King of Spades. And some fictional characters like Joan's sister, who is the Queen of Clubs. Montgomery, who is the Jack of Clubs. And Lionel, the Jack of Spades. And another interesting thing to note, especially about the tuck cases on these decks, is if you line them up all side by side, they look like little book spines, and they say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so they'll look really cool on your shelf. And all of these decks are printed from the United States Playing Card Company, who of course makes the best decks on the planet. If you head on over to playingcarddecks.com, you will find these at various prices. They're between $11 and $14 a piece. But they are also in a limited gilded edge. So you can also buy these decks with a gilded, like chromed out, right, foil, bling sides, and those are $40 a piece. Now, like I said earlier, playingcarddecks.com allowed me to get a whole set of 6. So I have a whole set of 6 gilded decks, still shrink wrapped, and they even come in a clear lucite case with a magnetic lid. I'm going to give that away this Saturday. So this Saturday, I'll have a contest video for all 6 of those, and I'll give that away as a first prize. And I'll give a second prize away. So all the decks that I've reviewed, all 6 of these, even though they're open, I will give second place my 6 decks that I used in my review. So that's 2 giveaways, right? 2 giveaways of the Cotta's Almanac decks. Like I said, this Saturday. So you want to come back this Saturday, make sure you've hit like, make sure you've hit subscribe, make sure you hit follow so that you're alerted when these fantastic giveaways go live. And a big, huge thanks to playingcarddecks.com for allowing me to have these decks so that I could do the review for you. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.